Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sana IE. I'm your host, XO. Hope you've been having a great week. Man, if this is your first time listening, appreciate you tuning in, and you tuned into a great episode. On this episode, I'm interviewing one of my good friends, Phree, about his 2020 journey and everything he's accomplished this year, as well as how this year's treated him, what he's learned about himself, what he's learned about this year, and what inspires him, as well as what is his plans for 2021. Man, we already in December. Christmas is literally around the corner. Then we at New Year's. Then we in 2021. People can't believe it. Check back with last episode. My last episode, I was discussing what I'm thankful for, my growth this year, as well as just being more thankful, being more open and grateful for everything and everyone in your life, and being more appreciative of everything that you go through. Well, with that being said, let's discuss my quotes of today. And my first quote is, whatever you do, good or bad, people will always have something negative to say. And that's facts. No matter what you do, people will love you or hate you, dislike you, always have something negative to say. So at the end of the day, you just have to do you. Do what's best for you. Do what makes you happy. Do what you love, and not think about what others' opinions will. Don't let others' opinions drown out your inner voice, your inner thoughts. Just keep pushing, and not really letting that negative energy, negative vibes, negative people get to you. Because at the end of the day, they're always going to be there. And it's always up to you. It's the power of choice. You have the power to choose whether to listen to them or whether to listen to your inner voice, listen to yourself. So with that being said, whatever you do, good or bad, people will always have something negative to say. So just do you at the end of the day. That's always best. And then my next quote is, always be kinder than necessary. What goes around comes around. No one has ever made themselves strong by showing how small someone else is. This is the time of the year where we need to give more. The season of giving. And that starts with being kind. Being kinder than you usually are. If you ain't kind at all, start being kind to people around you, your peers. Like it says, what goes around comes around. Karma is real. So always be nice and show that kindness, show that gratitude towards other people around you, and just people that you see throughout the day, throughout the streets, and just being appreciative and showing them, speaking to them, saying hi, acknowledging their existence. So always just being kind, like I said, especially during the season, but always overall being kind to the people around you, to the people you see. And if they're not kind back, hey, that's on them. But it's in your power to be kind to other people. So be kind, always do what you can to be kind, be nice to people, and put a smile on people's face, interact with everybody around you. But with that being said, let me give y'all a brief break, and then I'm going to introduce my guest for today. I appreciate y'all tuning in to Sana IE. My guest today is an artist, is a painter, is a visionary, is a businessman, is a traveler, and before all that, we went to the same high school. And then fast forward to where he studied at Cal State University of San Bernardino for painting. From there, he took his talents to the New York Fashion Week 2017, 2018, and developed his passion on a world stage. And over the years, he's developed relationships with people, as well as developing his passion in his craft, and it really shaped him and molded him to see what he really wanted to do in life, and that's spread love through his art, through his passion, as well as awakening people who feel like they've been lost and not found. So with that being said, he's been traveling this year with the pandemic that's been going on, him and a group of his peers were heartbroken over the police brutalities this year of the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. Man, the list goes on. So they were inspired to create a HoopBus. I know you're thinking like a HoopBus. Yes, a HoopBus. And they were inspired to create the HoopBus because through basketball, you have unity and you don't have racial barriers, or you don't see racism within basketball because everybody comes together as a team, as a collective, and they just come together as one with one common goal. And that's what him and his peers did. Create the HoopBus. And what they did this year, they did a march to DC, spreading love through the HoopBus, through basketball, traveling from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C., on a 20-day trip, stopping in cities like Albuquerque, New Mexico, Phoenix, Arizona, Dallas, Texas, Houston, New Orleans, ATL. And I'm pretty sure you've seen the HoopBus all over, whether it was on the news, on social media. And they've been spreading love as well as creating different basketball courts within each community. But let me get to my guests today. The designer, the visionary, and the creative director of the HoopBus, Phree Hester. But how's everything going?
Man, I'm blessed right now. I just released my new collection, ART. You know, always risk taking. That's what we doing.
I like that.
Yeah, so I just dropped it. I'm getting some good traction online, and a lot of people and friends are reposting it and things like that. I probably got over like 100 people reposting it right now.
That's dope.
Yeah, so I'm super blessed right now. Just to be able to see my stuff. Just being seen by a lot of different people all over.
Yeah, most definitely. I like what you came up with too. Cause when I seen it, so I was like, oh, that's hard. How you came with the art? I thought it was because you go by free art, but the whole meaning behind it, always risk taking, which is dope and inspirational. And I've seen a couple of designs on your Instagram as well, so I reposted as well. And I like some of the designs that you've done so far. And I know you always been creative, whatever inspires you, and it always has a meaning behind your art
Yeah, I mean,
overall.
I feel like in order for things to be meaningful, you have to kind of put some meaning behind it. And I was wearing the sweater before I even created it to be sold for the public, and some guy kind of questioned me and was like, "Hey, what does art mean to you?" And I'm like, it's art, bro. Like, I mean, I'm an artist, I'm a painter. Like, what kind of question is that? So then,
Yeah.
but he was really challenging me. I don't even know this guy, and he just challenged me that day to like really evaluate what that means to me, and in a sense of it being like an acronym.
Mm-hmm.
Always risk taking. As artists, many of us is always taking that chance, and depending on the chance that you take, it can really put you in a better situation than you are, and it allows you to really grow.
Yeah.
uh you know without risk, there's no reward.
Facts. And that saying and that meaning is just perfect for artists. Like you said, it's like you always got to take a risk when it comes to art and creating your art, because somebody else might not see the vision or the creative vision that you see, that you wanted, and they be like, oh, I don't like that, but you like, dang, this is like one of my best masterpieces. But everybody has different tastes, and when it comes to art, and especially you always risk taking designing different products, different items, because some items can blow up and sell, and some items can be just like not do anything at all. So
Nah,
it's always a risk with it.
that's the thing. Like I said, I'm even taking the risk now, hoping that people will buy it at the price that I have it for. This is kind of like a luxury art piece. Like in the sense, you're wearing it as a representation of you, because the person that's wearing it is art as well. So
Got you.
that's the thing that even has more of a deeper meaning behind it as well. Not just taking the risk, but also just being the art. Knowing that we are art. God created us in the likeness of Himself. So I mean, by Him creating us is just showing the ability of Him and His creativity and imagination to create art. So
That's facts.
big up to
Man,
the biggest creator.
man, shout out to him for real. But on to you. How was your holiday?
It was really good. I was able to spend some time with the family, and then I also started a new family with the HoopBus. So we had a Thanksgiving out in LA, and it was really cool just to bring different people together. A lot of people came. They're from different states and things like that. So it was really cool to see like all of us kind of sharing this family time together. Kind of like this
Mm-hmm.
friendsgiving vibe, and just really it was a family day for me. At
Yeah,
the end of the day, I cherish the family and people that I'm able to call my family.
especially over this year, everything that's been happening. I
Yeah.
know, like in the beginning of the year, who knows if you had the vision to where you at right now, especially with the new clothing brand, with your new brand art, as well as the people you connected with from January to now. It's like
Mhm.
you built a whole new family, like you said, with the Hoop Bus. The
Mhm.
Hoop Bus is like a whole new family and a whole new outreach for you. And that's dope though that you had a good holiday and then the connections you made from there to now.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, just being able to travel and see different things across the country and really just be able to be like a inspiration to others. And I mean, like I said, that just opens up the door for more opportunity for the future.
Yeah. How's this year been treating you overall?
Man, to me, I would say 2020 was one of the best years of my life. I mean, like I said, I was able to travel the whole country for 90 days.
That's
I
dope.
was able to, I had a I actually, when I moved to New York, I had sold my car, and when I had moved back, I hadn't had a car for like 3 years. So I was like kind of taking a train or like using my sister's car or whatever, and like I was able to save up some money to get myself a new car, a BMW, and
Mm-hmm.
BMW is another acronym that I use, which is a Black Man Winning. So
Love
I
that.
use all the things that I've kind of like manifested, all these things from my affirmations,
Yeah.
with art, with BMW, Black Man Winning, and being able to like use those things to kind of be a symbol, still a part of my life. Like, is powerful.
Yes, sir. I'm glad that you brought up affirmations because I believe in affirmations like 100. What are your um what are your views on affirmations yourself?
Well, I really believe that affirmations, and you believe, and by you staring at them and seeing them every day, you'll start to see the results of those affirmations in your life. Subconsciously, your mind already enables you to kind of tap in to what you've been speaking. So, by you saying, I can do this, I can be great, I have a dream, I'm gonna accomplish this dream, like all of those things, you're able to like really manifest that and make it reality. So, on the trip when we did the hoop bus, we actually went to Washington D.C. and painted a big affirmation on the court of this community out in DC, and
Hmm.
it says "I have a dream" with Martin Luther King's face right next to it. But literally just letting people know that Martin Luther King had his dream, and so should you. You should have your dream, whether it is to get out or to do something that's gonna help change the world. And like I said, my dream was to use my abilities to travel and to inspire people. And like I said, my dream is coming to life like every day. Like
Facts. And I'm here to support your dream and help you out with that dream. But how did the whole hoop bus come about? Because
yeah.
I know you said that's your dream and that's connection. How did that come about
I mean,
from now to then?
I would say it started about a year ago. I was with the Venice Basketball League, which is a tournament that they have off in Venice Beach, where all these it's kind of like the street ball of NBA of you know the streets, and
Mm-hmm.
basically my friend Nick, he started that league, and he ended up buying the bus, just for us to kind of get around. It really wasn't used to be like what we just used it for, but I mean that's shows you the possibility of dreams. So one day they came out with the COVID thing and like kind of shut everybody down, and we wasn't able to get out there and do stuff. So like we had already went on one tour before, which was to go to the All-Star weekend for
Yeah,
in Chicago, and we have built a court out there and gave a bunch of shoes away, gave back to the community. But then it came a second opportunity, which was what we just did 3 months ago, and that's how really the HoopBus really like kind of got its staple for being a symbol of hope and activism, and of having the ability to amplify the voices of the unheard. So me,
that's
I
dope.
kind of played the role as the art director, creative curator. Um, I was able to create a big 14-foot fist on the top of the bus,
Yeah, that's hard. That's
Black
dope.
Lives Matter with the ribbon around it, and then on the front I created Black Lives Matter with the Pan African colors, and yeah, it was really powerful just to see us driving through the country and like people seeing us, and they seen us online, and people was giving us free rooms and free food and all types of just amazing, just
That's
like when you
dope.
lead
I
with
like that.
intention to do good, you're gonna receive good.
Mm-hmm. That's facts. Man, traveling 90 days throughout the whole country on the Hoop Bus,
Man.
I love it. That's like one of the like a great road trip overall, but as well as you're impacting the country, impacting each city, impacting a person every city that you land in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like like you said, you're manifesting your dream. Your dream is slowly becoming true, where you're impacting people and making, bringing people together through art and as well as through basketball.
Yeah, and that's
So
one thing, with basketball. I remember, that used to be one of my first loves, and I mean, with me and you being, schoolmates going back to AB Miller, shout out to AB.
shout out to the
Yes,
Rebels.
sir. We played on the JV team, and I mean, I just remember, at that time I wasn't as good as I wanted to be, and now looking back, it kind of a lot of lessons, especially shout out to Coach Rome as well, because Coach Rome and even Coach Murphy, man, Coach Murphy, man, that dude was funny. Yo, it
Hilarious.
would be crazy, and we'd be at practice. My cousin did, they'd be like, get your cousin, get him out the game. I was like, man, it was crazy. I
Hilarious,
took
man. Good
one shot,
times.
and he was like, nah, you got to come out. You done, you done.
He'd be so pissed
Yeah,
off.
he was
It's
always
crazy.
mad. But like I said, a lot of those fundamentals were able to mold me subconsciously, without me even knowing, and it taught me a lot of principles and just kind of way to kind of position myself and live a life, I guess, of righteousness. I would say, um,
Mm-hmm.
it was really cool just to like be able to jump back into basketball with art at the same time, because I remember one of the years I stopped playing because I was like doing something art related and I couldn't choose both. Like it was either
Yeah.
choosing being on the basketball team or being in the art. I think it was like a play at the school for like High School Musical, one of those two, and I had to kind of choose in between, and I was really kind of torn between that. But definitely, now being able to look back at that and like see it kind of do a whole 360 and like put me in a position of just being a leader and a person that can inspire people
Yeah.
to be great.
Especially then, from then to now, because basketball, like, you said basketball was your first love, and you was torn between, do I want to choose art or do I want to choose basketball? But at the end of the day, you chose art. I'm sure you followed your gut instinct, which was growing through with art. Um, and you really pursued that, and look what it blossomed into over the years.
Yeah, man. I mean, it
Especially,
was a way to like I said, I mean, it really truly did blossom. And I mean, just seeing my whole life, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure you didn't think I was gonna be Phree the artist, like traveling the world, the country, creating art all over the world, like, using my creativity as a vehicle to kind of, you know, inspire people. I mean, even myself, I didn't think that 10 years ago this is what I would have been doing.
yeah,
So, it's really powerful just to see, like, just kind of the growth. There's a lot, and I think that's part of the risk. I mean, that's goes straight back into the risk taking. Without risk you can't grow. So
hmm
I took the risk, and I went out there, and I did what I had to do.
What would you like tell anybody right now that's listening, that's really contemplating on taking a risk, that's been like teetering back and forth, like should I take this risk or should I take the risk? Always giving themselves doubts or really thinking about the consequences of taking the risk instead of just taking that leap of faith and believing themselves and trusting and having that confidence. What would you tell them?
I would say definitely make sure you like do the research on what it is that you're looking to do. I mean, I don't say just go take risks but blindly. I mean, it's definitely you have to be smart in taking the risk that you're going to take. But, if you really believe in your gut truly that this is something that you were meant to do, then I think you should be doing it. I don't think that you should hold back or, like let family members or friends or whoever it is stop you from doing what you feel you're passionate about. I mean, if you're driven by your passion, then nothing could get in your way. Passion drives the ability to achieve your dreams.
Facts. I appreciate that. I know they will too. Because like you said, it's all about doing the research before you take the risk. It's like taking a calculated risk and evaluating all the options before you just jump in.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, too, if it like you said, if it's a gut instinct and you feel it in your gut and that's your passion, then it's like, why not
yeah.
just believe in yourself?
I mean, when I first started as an artist, I mean, this was probably back in 2014. I mean, initially I started as a company called No Curfew with my cousin Marcus from AB Miller. And for me, we started a production company. We always had the dream to be entrepreneurs. And, as kids, we kind of grew up. Our parents always kind of put us on a curfew. Like, you have to be in the house by like 8 o'clock. I had to be in the house by like 5 o'clock. I couldn't even hang out and do stuff. So, it was really kind of messed up. My dad used to be pulling up and I'd be like outside, and the next thing, everybody turns their head, like, and I was already gone in the house, like upstairs, like, and they're like, dang, bro, I can't believe you ran that fast. I'm like, yo, like, I ain't trying to get in trouble, I ain't finished my homework,
Yeah.
but whatever it was at the time, I just had to do what I had to do. But, I wanted to still be a kid and interact with people. So, I would always sneak outside and play and then run back in. But, just like I said, with the art, when I first began, it was a process. I mean, this is an overnight success. We started No Curfew in 2011, and
hmm
now it's 2020. It's damn near 10 years that we've been in the game, like really pushing hard at the level of like what we're trying to do, and we're starting to see. We also just got our first warehouse creative space that we're going to be building out for the Inland Empire so that we can create opportunities for people like ourselves, to have podcasts, to have photo shoot rental places and things like that, to shoot music videos, like all of that. We really want to help foster the creatives out here in the Inland Empire because, we believe in the Inland Empire and we come from the Inland Empire. So we want to make sure that everybody out here is given that opportunity to express themselves. And, like I said, instead of driving all the way to LA or to wherever, there's a place right here in your own backyard. So that's, something I really am excited for, taking into, going into 2021. We coming hard out the gate.
Most definitely. I love that y'all building that creative space for the creators out here that need that space, that always want to, that have to drive to LA for studio time to record, to do photography, or even to record a podcast, where it's like you have that out here. The IE, you don't have to travel as far. You can pay the certain hourly limits, and then just utilize the space that you're in, and where it builds up and it attracts more people to come to the IE, and attracts more revenue, and it attracts just a good positive energy, and it shines the light on what's going on out here and what's been going on out here. But it's like we got to cast it. We're in the shadow of LA simply because LA is just, of course, it's Hollywood, the fame. That's where everybody wants to
Mhm.
be. Nobody wants to be like, oh, let's go to the IE,
I
let's go to the Inland
never,
Empire.
ever,
Because
ever heard anybody say, "Yo, let's go to the IE." And it's
facts,
funny because one of my homies just moved from New York, and when I was in New York, he showed me mad love. Shout out to Vico, he's a producer, and he was showing me around his city, and I mean, it's cool because in New York you could always find something to do no matter where you at. Like
hmm
it's a nice spot anywhere you go. But like out here, it's like, oh, you got to go to LA to find something. And so he's living out here, and he's like, yo, bro, like I'm trying to go to the IE. What is there to do? I'm like, it's COVID time. Like, ooh, like I don't even know. Like,
that's
okay,
tough.
no movie theaters, no malls. Okay, I don't know, bro.
And
You got
that's
any friends that you can go to their house? Like, I don't think you could do anything in the IE because there's nothing to
facts.
do, like literally. So I mean, that's why I'm excited for us to create this this creative hub, to help foster the creative talents that we have here in the Inland Empire. Because like I said, I would hate to like tell somebody else that, like, dang, there's nothing to do. Like, nah, we got to create
hmm
something to do. We got too
Yeah,
many
it's like,
creative people in the Inland Empire for us not to have nothing to do out here. And you go to LA, you got so many different events, so many different activities and things you could do. I mean, the Inland Empire is very beautiful, and that's one thing I was made sure that I put into my collection, because I wanted to make sure people got to see the beauty that we have here in the IE. Like I went out to Lido Creek and did a couple shots up there, and then I went up to the hill up on Etowanda to get some like shots of the whole city, like where you could just see the whole Inland Empire, and
hmm
just really trying to take that in, because I'm proud to be from here. I'm originally from
it's,
LA, but I'm from both places, and I love that I can be from both places and represent.
yeah, both places and adapt to them. Especially the IE, we're gonna put it on the map, man. Everybody
Yes,
gonna
sir.
want to come
Fontana,
here
from
and
Kentucky,
see it.
Rialto, Ontario, Upland.
Yeah, all that. It starts with
Yes,
2021 for
sir.
sure. I'm gonna most definitely myself check out some of the spots you did some shots at. I gotta. You said up at Nawanda. I was
If
just
you go all the
it
way
came
to
to
the
my
top of
head
Etowanda, you can find this really, really dope hill. I used to go there all the time on hikes and do photo shoots and stuff. And I
for
haven't
sure.
been back like really in the IE for a minute, like probably about 2-3 years. So like, everything kind of looks a little different, but I mean that area, it looks the same. And like I said, if you just go all the way, you just keep driving straight up Etowanda where you can't drive anymore. There's like a really nice like mountain hill that you could just kind of take some nice pictures. You could do some hikes, all that.
Almost definitely. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna let's get back to the let's talk about the Hoop Bus. What inspired y'all to take the trip across the country?
Man, truly, it was really just for us to amplify the voices of the unheard. When I say the unheard, it's a lot of people like in the black community that is basically having their voice taken by the police, by the structures of how the power is set up, against them. So a lot of times, they might have a family member that's killed by the police, and it's not even on the news or publicized at all. And for us, we wanted to go out and like help those families get their voice, get their stories heard. And like I said, I think that's the beautiful thing about art, is it allows you to bring stories to life. And when
hmm
I say that, I mean by using the Black Lives Matter as like a vehicle to kind of jump into the scene, as well as using voting. We were really able to kind of be a part of the conversation, a part of the dialogue of what's happening in 2020. Like I really think that, like, without this movement that we created, I mean, I don't even think we really understand how big this thing is. You know, I mean, to me, when I first started it, I was thinking of it as like the Freedom Riders. You know, in
Mm-hmm.
1960, they went on a Greyhound bus, you know, to Alabama, to all these different places, and they did sit-ins. And you know, I felt like that's what we were doing, but in a new way. And you
Yeah.
know, like I said, obviously there's going to be some pushback, and I mean, we did receive a little pushback, but it wasn't nothing too crazy. You know, I'm really thankful that you know we were protected and covered, because you know, I mean, things could have really went south, especially in the south. We was
Real.
down south, like in them woods, like you know, we was in
Man.
them woods. They
He
was
said
trying
at the
to send
South. Yeah,
boys
the
after us. You
woods.
know them boys. You heard Donald Trump. He
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah,
For
I'm gonna
real.
sip. You boys stand by. Yeah, them boys." He talked about them boys. They don't need no names. You just know them
Wow.
boys. Yeah, you know what we talking about.
Thanks. What was your least favorite part of the trip and most favorite part of the trip?
Oh man, my least favorite part. Oh man, I think getting bit by mosquitoes. Oh,
Oh
the
shit.
mosquitoes was killing us. I hated it.
Man.
I mean, the South is known and is notorious for the mosquito biting. You know,
For
they
real.
will eat you alive, and you know, for me, I just that was like the least. I mean, the my favorite moment really. It's so hard to choose. I mean, uh I have to probably give you like three of the best ones. Like you know, really,
Go ahead.
uh, my first one would have to be when we were in Washington D.C. We did like a march um, from like Howard University all the way to the African American Museum, and there was
That's
like
dope. How was
about
it?
at least 80 cop cars like blocking it for 4 miles. And then like you
Damn.
know we had like these race cars like Chargers and Corvettes and all these different type of cars like on the side of us. And then we had like probably like 500, 600 protesters in front of us, or you know activist people, you know, marching and you know voicing their using their voice. And then you had us, and then like the people that was in front of us and behind us, they have this music called go-go, and they had a whole go-go band in the back of like a flatbed truck, and they was just jamming. So it was like a real like
Man.
movement, like to me, that I'll never forget that day. Like it was during the day, so
Man.
like kind of towards the night, it was like probably like right before the sun goes down. So we got a little bit of the daytime and the nighttime, and like you know just to see a mixture of that both. You know, kind of seeing the people who's out during the day and the people that come out at night was like amazing. And then you know Rucker Park. You know Rucker Park has so much history, especially for basketball, and you know being able to go there, and you
Facts.
know the community there in Rucker was so welcoming. You know, I mean, they pretty much gave us the keys and was like, "Yo, like anytime y'all want to do anything here, y'all come back, let us know. Like we got y'all. Like you know, what I mean, we really helped, you know, uplift the spirits in that place because you know, what I mean, Rucker Park isn't the same Rucker Park it used to be back in the day. Like
Mm-hmm.
you know, when Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan and all these famous basketball players used to come and just you know ball out, and you know, it was just like it was really for the people. And you know, I think that's what we're
Yeah.
doing. You know, it was doing it for the people. You know, we weren't doing it for money. We weren't doing it for clout. You know, for fame or nothing like that. You know, it was really for the people. And I mean, I think the people really genuinely felt that we was really coming. You know, to really help and give back to them.
Help and get back to them. And I see it too. Every from the video that I've seen and I watched, I've seen like the impact that you guys made with the HoopBus, with every city that you went in, all the people that you connected with and met with, where it's just inspired people and motivate people, as well as you bringing people together to paint murals, create courts, as well as just being on the HoopBus and doing dunks on the hoop that's there, and just eating and coming together and just getting to know people and spreading that love and the creativity along the way. But my question is, what did you learn about the whole? Because as you see, the march to DC, that felt like that whole moment felt like powerful to me. I was just trying to envision myself in that moment there with you guys. As you said, the cop cars lined up, the Corvettes lined up, protesters marching, had the go-go band. What did you learn in that moment right there?
I mean, we had a power. The people have the power, really. The power is in the people. That's what I really learned through this whole trip. Is like, we have to come together. There's no such thing as like race. Like, the only race that we have is the human race, and we all bleed
Mm-hmm.
the same color. So it's like at the end of the day, we need to put our differences aside. Black, white, yellow, purple, whatever color you are. I mean, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when you see something that's not right, you got to stand up and speak up about it. And that's all I'm really doing. I'm
Facts.
not nobody special. I'm just doing what anybody could do. When I see something that's not right and people doing wrong, I mean, you see these countless videos of cops killing people, and I mean, somebody could say, "Hey, stop that! Like, you ain't got to do them like that. Like, hey, yo, like, you're being too excessive. Call somebody else." Like, I mean, even if you can't intervene by like trying to grab the cop, like, at least like figure a way to like distract them. Like, So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's just too many times. We see these police killing another black person, and I feel like those people could have been me. I've been in that situation numerous times. Cops had their guns drawn to my back and ready to shoot me over misunderstanding. And like I said, there's just a lot of times that the system is against us. And I've been through the system where I've been falsely accused and had to go to court and go to jail and things like that. And I mean, this is part of my story that I'm able to use now to tell and inspire people to you know don't let the odds or the what people say, stop you from being great. What I mean? And I used to work for this guy. Well, I didn't really work for him, but I was like, really helping him, cultivate his brand back.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be a famous designer back in the day. He would make like these championship jackets for like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. And during the time that I was working with him and helping him get his brand, back to being relevant, I mean, he's been not out of business, but in the sense of like people weren't really knowing his legacy at the time. And I was like, I mean, to me, you have a huge legacy that needs to be, recognized from documentaries or whatever. I want to help you like get that. And I mean, during that time, I was doing some art in the studio, and there was a piece that I had created, which was on a car hood, and it was of Muhammad Ali. And he tried to steal that painting, but when I seen that he tried to steal it, I ended up taking all my art and just moving out.
That's
And in
crazy.
result of that, he tried to blackmail me by saying that, I broke into the studio, I robbed him for over $80,000 worth of
What
jackets,
the
and
fuck?
like I said, he made up this fake police report. During the time that he said this happened, I wasn't even in the state. I was in New York. And he said that I broke in and stole all this stuff from him. And the police ended up arresting me when I was on a cruise with my family. And,
Damn, that's
it was
crazy.
crazy because, like, the Border Patrol and the police, and these investigators all came out. It was like taking me, walking me to the car. And there's like a long kind of walk to get to the car from the boat. So it was
The
like
boat?
people taking
Yeah.
pictures of me, and it was just like so humiliating to just go through that. I felt like like damn, like why is this happening to me? And I never did
Mm-hmm.
nothing. And for me, I was able to like I said, overcome it. Now you see, I'm still free. I beat the case, and nothing really happened to him. And I mean, like I said, I think God has a way of working out. Vengeance is His, so I can't really
Yeah.
feel any type of spite or revenge towards the guy. But I mean, this is
What?
it. He tried to ruin my life and take my ability to be free and ability to use, to take my freedom away. And I think that's one thing people don't understand: the freedoms that we have, you know, in America.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to have your freedoms taken away is like one of the worst feelings ever. To be treated like you're not even a human being, to be falsely accused of something that you didn't even do, and then potentially even go to jail for it. for, you know,
Man, it happens
yeah,
every day.
so for me, it really taught me to be an activist in that moment, and really stand up for people who are in those situations, like how I was, because no one was there to help me during that time. There
Yeah,
was nobody that I could call on that could help me. I mean, like I said, I told people about it, and nobody was really able to come to my side and say, yo, I know what to do, like this is what we need to do, boom boom boom, like and I just had to kind of go through that whole process. And I mean, I think it just really made me stronger than anything, and it really just taught me, you have yourself at the end of the day, and you got to use
yeah.
yourself and your strength to up, lift yourself back up, even if you at rock bottom. I was like, that's part of the reason why I didn't have a car and all that stuff, and I was kind of like at bottom, where I was like damn near homeless. Like I couldn't even, I didn't have a place to live or nothing. I was staying at friends' houses or like sleeping in the car, like whatever I had to do to kind of survive. And I mean, I'm just so thankful for the people that were there for me during that time. To me, the analogy that I always tell people is, it's like you're in the ocean, and you're just kind of like trying to swim to the destination, but it's like along the way you got these people that come along and they help you. They let you get on the boat a few times, they feed you, but you still got to get off that boat and keep going. No one can take you to where you got to go. You got to go and take yourself there. So that's one thing
That's
that I
facts.
learned from that situation. Is just like, sometimes the waters in the ocean is chaotic, and it's like it's a storm sometimes, and it's gonna be tough. You're gonna feel like you're drowning, and it's gonna be like, feeling like it's the end of the world. But you gotta just keep that hope, and believe and have faith. Really just having faith, and knowing that God's gonna bring you through this, no matter what.
hmm Knowing that everything will
Yes,
pass.
sir.
So having that faith and having that confidence and belief in anything and everything that
I
you
mean,
do.
like,
And I like how you spreading the word and impacting
yeah,
people through your art, through your time. Like you said, the whole incident that happened to you, I don't believe it happened to you. It happened for you because it pushed you in a direction to where now you're being an activist for the falsely accused, as well as shining light on the misjustices of our community and the misfortunate slayings of what's been happening throughout this year and what's been going on throughout this country for hundreds of
hmm
years.
and that's what I'm saying. I mean, as Black people, we should understand firsthand how it feels. Even if we haven't experienced it, our grandparents experienced it, our parents may have experienced it, our ancestors experienced it. So I mean, we have to know like that experience, and know that we gotta like really fight for change. Like and that's really what I am. I'm a fighter for change. I'm a freedom fighter. I want to see freedom worldwide, and I'm gonna do what it takes to do that. I mean, by any means necessary.
Most definitely. Man, I appreciate you for real just coming on and just sharing knowledge and dropping knowledge and really inspiring people and motivating people and letting people know about your story of who Phree the artist is and what you've been through and where you started and where you at now and how you're just constantly keep going and keep grinding as well as keep being driven to spread love, spread art and show your passion, distribute your
Yeah,
passions through your art. And as well as just bringing people along, like how you still have a vision for the IE, even though haven't been here like 2 to 3 years. You said to where you like, I want to still get back to the IE, build a creative hub to where a lot of creative people can come and just collaborate and just build in where we network and as well as just build up the Inland Empire versus the Inland Empire being
yeah.
under a
I mean,
rock.
it's our duty. I mean, especially in the position that I'm in, I feel like, I have to build that community. I have to build the collaboration. I mean, I'm not a selfish person. I'm not always thinking about like, oh, how can I make myself look bigger or better, or how can I get more money for me? Like, I believe in, more than one person. When two or more people come together, real dreams and possibilities can come true. I mean, it's difficult to do things
Facts.
alone by yourself and think like you're gonna be successful. I mean, even if you have all the skills, I mean, you still need a team. You still need to pass the ball to someone. Like Jordan is
Facts.
good, but he was only as good as his team. And that's why he was able
Mm-hmm.
to lead them to victory. And like I said, that's how I kind of put myself in that position. People like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee and tons of many more people that came before me. I'm just like kind of following their blueprint of like what it looks like to be successful, but in a new way, like reinventing that. And I think that's the thing, we just need to continue reinventing things that inspire us, things that, as you see, a lot of movies and stuff is coming out. They make a lot of remakes of the same movie that has already been out. So it's like, and they getting
Yeah.
paid for it. So it don't make sense for you not, if
That's
you see
true.
something that you really fell in love with that really inspired you. Like I think I was watching this guy, and it's funny because he came into my gallery in LA, and his last name is Cooper Films, and he came into the my gallery. It's like a coffee shop art gallery in LA, and he was so inspired by the Fresh Prince of Bel Air that he created his own series called Bel Air, just Bel Air by itself, and he
Mm-hmm.
did his interpretation of what Fresh Prince of Bel Air like in modern day times looks like today. And so many people went crazy for it, and like even Will Smith himself went crazy and like interviewed him and was on his podcast. And just to have that, like that validation from like Will Smith to say like, yo, like, thank you. And I mean, I think that's part of the reason why Will Smith is bringing back the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, the whole reunion and everything, because of part of that, inspiration from the younger generation, from what we've seen. I mean, Will Smith was in it, but he didn't understand the impact that he like had on so many other people. And I feel like that's like our duty as well. Like for even me in the future, I'm sure it's gonna be like that for like, oh, I didn't even know the hoop bus impacted you like that. I didn't even know my art impacted
Yeah.
you like that. I mean, I'm just doing it as I'm just a vessel. So
Mm-hmm.
yep,
Inspiring others.
I'm just a vessel from God. And I'm just allowing everything everything he does for me is that, I just let him pour it into me, and I just executed it.
Facts. 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 What's your plans for 2021?
2021, man. Like I said, we opening up this creative hub, for the IE. Really trying to help, really cultivate that what we have here. I mean, this is like a gold mine for creativity, and a lot of people don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I said, it's just a matter of time, and it's going to be like the new gold rush where people going to be coming out here building different photo studios and different creative outlets for people to do out here, because they see that the market is untapped. And like I said, it's good for us, the people that's actually from here, to start buying up land, getting some properties, getting some real estate. And I think that's
Hell
really what we
yeah.
need to talk about, is really advocating for people like us, especially people of color, to get the land. Don't worry about getting land out in LA and all these other places. Like, focus on the area where you're from and just build it up. So, that we have a
Yes.
lot of people that have, real estate licenses, they do construction and all these different things. And that doesn't mean that they're counted out. That's why you need a person who is able to facilitate those ideas so that they could bring them to life. Like, now that I know a real estate agent, now that I know
Mm-hmm.
a contractor, a person that knows how to build, construction and things like that, I have all the pieces to build my own empire.
Yeah, it's like you said, creating building that team and putting that team
Bro,
together.
we live in
It's
the
all.
inland
It's
empire,
like I've
and it's like
heard.
the empire is
For
the
real.
key. I feel like, we really got to understand, like,
Facts.
there's not too many empires. As the Roman Empire was one of the largest empires in the world. And I mean, we live in the inland
Mm-hmm.
empire, and understanding that, understanding how, what the empire means. I might break that up into a acronym. You, who knows? Because like I said, I mean, I'm just
For real.
talking right now, but I'm saying, like, it's just the ability to understand what's in front of you. I feel like a lot of times too many of us go searching in other places thinking like, yo, I'm gonna get on if I do this in this area, or if I do this over here, I'm gonna get to where I'm trying to get to faster. And I don't really think there's any shortcuts at all. You really have to
Yeah,
like
that's
hone in
facts.
on your craft, and yeah, you
Put your
got to put
time
them
in.
10,000 hours in, and even more. Like I said, look how long it took me to be where I'm at
Yeah,
today. 11 years.
and
Yeah,
still
I
it's
mean,
still grinding. It's like
yeah,
the
bro. I
grind never
mean, I'm
stops.
I'm still grinding. I'm still using everything that I've learned along the way to get me to where I'm going. And like I said, it's you
Hmm.
really just have to understand like if you're a construction worker, you can't do the job if you don't got the right tools. So what you need to
Facts.
do is make sure you get the tools you need in order for you to do that. And I mean, it may take you a year or two to get those tools. It don't just you can't just go buy the tool and be like, "Yo, I just got this tool." Like, nah, you got to understand like even having that tool, what does it mean? What does that do? Like by you having this tool, how can it put you in a better position? I mean, these is real jewels that we dropping right now. So I'm just saying, like, I feel like it's something's coming
Facts.
down
Take
right now.
notes.
God's pouring into me, and I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Yeah, this is real juicy.
Yeah,
You know.
most definitely. Because it's like it just comes down like what do the tools do for you, and utilize the tools and plug in more along with the tools, the team that you have around you too, utilizing the pieces around you because there's everybody in the Inland Empire specializes in a
Mm-hmm.
certain field, and it's like collaboration over competition. At the end of the day, we all can collaborate and make something bigger, and we can build the empire up, the Inland Empire up. But as like you said, it's the empire. At the end of the day, we all can build up, and we're all creative in our own ways. It's just we all got to build them connections and network with each other and know that it's enough out here for us all to eat versus just oh nah he's competition. It's like no, let's
Yeah,
collaborate
and
and
then
make
I
something
don't
happen.
believe in the competition, honestly, bro. Like, I mean, I feel like that's a disease that the world has kind of created to make people go against each other.
Yep.
Like, oh, these are your competitors. Like, nah, why do they got to be our competitors? If we collaborate and do something so epic, that means together we just created something that's going to be longer living than us ourselves. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
people have to let go of that mindset of like, oh, I got to be the king. I'm the only king, and I everything goes by the rules that I say. Like, what I mean, I believe in kings and all that, but I don't believe in it being like this one ruler dictatorship. Where it's like, that's where America's trying to become. Like, Donald Trump's trying to say, I'm gonna control this whole country, whether y'all like it or not. I'm gonna do what I want to do, and you've already seen what that happened, what that looks like when Hitler was in, trying to take over Germany. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
look how much turmoil that turned into, and how much of people that were affected by that. Like, I mean, history is telling us exactly what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
I mean,
repeating
in a
itself.
sense, like I said, the hoop bus is a repeating, sense of timeline of the
Mm.
freedom riders. I mean, we weren't thinking of
Yes,
it
sir.
initially like let's be the freedom riders. Like that's not what we were trying to do. Like I said, before I even had the name Free, I wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be a freedom rider one day. Huh? Like, it's just like as you grow and you develop, you kind of understand the history. And I think that's the thing. It's like you really got to study your history, do your research, and like you'll be called to the thing that you're supposed to be doing once you kind of understand more and more details of who came before you. I mean, even
Mm-hmm.
you, like even me, like people are gonna be looking back to us saying like, man, like Free and X, they created a platform using a podcast, or they use their voice, or they use their art, their creativity. And that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people, especially in college and just corporate America, they don't let you use your creativity to boost yourself. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where it's at now. You're seeing this is the new era. This is the creative era, and this is where it's at. The creative renaissance. This is the creative
Yes,
renaissance of
sir.
what we're creating, and it's only the beginning. I don't think like me starting 11 years ago is that was the beginning. Like the beginning is now, and I feel like if you continue
Mm-hmm.
thinking like the beginning is now all the time, you'll always be relevant in whatever field that you're in, because you'll never put a dead end on, or a cap. You don't want to put a cap on your creativity. You don't want to put a cap on your skills, on what you can do. Because once you say like, okay, this is the end of me, I mean, then you're over. You're done. So I
Yeah,
want my
that's
legacy to
facts.
be continue on and on, again and again, and making sure that the world understands that I stood for for light, and for empowerment, to power empowerment to our people, across the world, for all of our brothers and sisters, in different countries and different states. I mean, the world is so big, and it doesn't make sense just to put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, literally, we got so much resources and opportunity in so many different places, and like I said, you just got to start using your network to get yourself to where you want to be.
Hmm. That's facts. All right, we're gonna switch it over. Switch it over. I got my top 5 questions. I want your top 3 answers. Top. What's your top 3
My
movies?
top 3 movies, dang. All right, so I know for sure my number one I always go to is The Matrix. I love The Matrix. That's one of my favorite movies.
Same here.
Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio. It's a really, really deep thinking type of movie. Just really powerful movie. I love that movie. And
Mm-hmm.
there's this really cool movie. I don't think I had this before, but I would say August Rush. It's August Rush. It's a
August
really good
Rush.
movie about this like musical prodigy, and he just hears music and everything. And I just thought that was amazing growing up watching that movie. I think it was like one of the movies that, like in high school and middle school when it was raining or it was too crazy weather outside, y'all just watch movies today. One day we just watched this
Yeah.
movie, August Rush, and I just fell in love. I was like, yo, this movie's so dope. Like, super powerful movie.
I'm gonna have to check that out for sure because I
Oh, yeah.
haven't seen it, but I
August
know I'll
Rush.
find it
It's
real
a really
quick.
good
But I'm
movie.
gonna have
Like I said,
to
definitely I'll watch that.
most definitely. Favorite foods or your top 3 foods?
Well, I gotta have that soul food. You know,
Most
can't be
definitely.
black without having the soul food, man. This is delicious. Uh, and, especially where we
Yes,
from
sir.
out here in the IE Fontana and Cali. I mean,
Yeah, soul food
I'm just
everywhere
saying
down there.
for Cali in general, like Southern California, I gotta say Mexican food because I feel like I'm part Mexican, even though I may not look it. That my taste bud is Mexican for sure because I love burritos and tacos and nachos. I mean, shout out to all the Mexicans. I love y'all. I love y'all food.
Big facts. Same here. Y'all
Every
do y'all
time,
thing
never
every
fails.
time.
And then I would say, I recently kind of tasted this recently, within the past 5 years, which was pho, and I love pho. Like, I mean, that's
Oh
definitely
yeah,
like one of my like, I guess those top three for sure.
most definitely. I'll fuck with fun too. I'm about to
You're
grab some tonight. For sure. Top 3 places that
mm,
you've been.
definitely my number one would have to be New York. I love New York with a passion. Like, definitely, it's like one of my second homes. I felt like New York really understands people that are creatives. There's a lot of there's a huge lane for people like us out there, to express ourselves without, having like that judgment. You know, I think it's a beautiful city to be in, and it's a lot of hustle and bustle, but it's a lot of beauty there, and yeah, I love New York. Uh, Next would probably be Paris. I love Paris, France. Paris,
I
France
gotta
is
get
so
there.
dope. Um, And because I haven't been to this place, I'm gonna put this as my number three because I want it to happen. So I'm gonna use this as an affirmation because I'm trying speaking it right
Speaking
now
into
into existence.
existence.
I'm going to Japan. Japan, I feel like
For
is a
sure.
beautiful, beautiful place. A lot of history. It dates back many centuries ago, and I've just always been a fan of like the culture, the Japanese culture is phenomenal.
Okay. Okay. I'm like, Japan's on my list too because I'm like, I've been a fan of the culture, food, and just the whole architecture of Japan. So, what about your top three role
Man,
models?
my role models would definitely have to be um definitely my dad. I would say, I mean, despite
Mm-hmm.
some of the struggles that we've gone through, I would definitely say he's definitely been a good role model to me. A lot of kids grow up without having their dads in their life, so I think he's done an amazing job, raising me throughout the years. And I mean, it's not tough raising, a man. It's definitely one of the toughest jobs you can do. So I know I'm definitely signing up for that within the next few years. It's going to be a tough journey, but I'm excited to take on that. And then I would say, for me, like, for me to be where I'm at today, I feel like, like people like Michael Jordan being able to like kind of fight against the odds. I don't know him as a person, but I just know his work ethic, and I mean the ability to like outwork everybody and to just have that utmost confidence of knowing like I can make this shot. I'm a dunk on whoever. I don't care
Yeah.
how tall you are. I don't care what you think you could do. I'm gonna do it. And I think that's what allows us to really break through whatever obstacle that is in front of us. Like you have to really believe it and know that you can do it. Like there's no limitations. So that's what kind of opened up the door for my freedom mindset. Because seeing people like that, like achieve greatness by flying on air, like I mean, how do you do that? Who's doing that? And especially at the time that
Yeah.
he was doing it was just like incredible. I mean, nowadays, like I said, he's inspired so many basketball players to jump from the free throw line because of him. And just to
Mm-hmm.
do it so gracefully, like how he did, it was amazing. Um, and the third person, I would say, it's kind of like in between Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee. Like both of them are like I would kind of combine those both together because they just kind of teach you about the fight that you gotta have to have in life. Like you gotta be always fighting for what you believe, and regardless, I think I'm gonna go with the story with Muhammad Ali when he was forced to go into the military and he declined and they sent him to jail. And by him saying no, like that really speaks volumes to me because he stood up for what he believed in, and he knew that I'm not going to fight in a war that I'm not supposed to be in. And
Damn,
to me
that's
that
true.
always like stood out to me. Thought that was powerful. Like like this man's like the biggest famous fighter in the world. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Like and to like not even let the government control him. I feel like that's the type of power we have, and we have to have for ourselves. Like not compromising ourselves. For to fit in or to do what other people want us to do. We have the right, we have the
Yeah.
choice, and I think that's the thing. We have to understand our intention and our choices that we have in front of us, and understand that if you don't feel comfortable doing something, you don't have to do it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's my top three right there.
Got you. And I love that last one. That was like that last one was motivated about Muhammad Ali. And true too, like you said, stand up and believe, stand up
Hmm.
for what you believe in, and not really being suppressed or oppressed by the government or anybody else, and just having that courage to do that.
Yeah.
It's real too, and that's what he did. I know a lot of if you haven't people that's listening, if you haven't didn't know what Muhammad Ali did when the government asked them to force him to I can't talk right now to join the military. Check it out. I'm pretty sure you'll see it and you'll realize what we're talking about. Well, my last question is, what is your top 3 moments of
Man,
this
this
year?
year 2020 was amazing. In the beginning, it started off with me starting my art gallery in Los Angeles and Mid City, and that was a phenomenal experience. Just to be able to create this art gallery. Shout out to my homies, Little Amsterdam, Josh, Art Music, Mary Jane, and just giving me that opportunity to create something for our community over there. We're doing a lot of big things, and then yeah, Little
I'm about to
Amsterdam.
check it out.
Then after the COVID hit, I felt like I was able to kind of reconnect with my family, and I helped my sister create her business and give her the confidence. Not, I didn't give her the confidence, but helped her see the confidence that she has inside of her that she needed to tap into, and helped her start her own business. And now her business is thriving, through some of the resources that I've been able to give to her. And it's just powerful to just give back to your family and your community. And the last one would just definitely be the HoopBus experience. Really being able to that was a dream, and like I said, to make that dream reality. And I always wanted to go on tour and do something that was going to impact the world, and I didn't ever know how it was going to be. I'm like, how am I going to create a tour? Like, how do you even set up a tour? Like, what? Like, and, like I said, I tried to do my own art tour in, I think, 2015. And, it was just really cool to see it like come back around so fast. 2020, like 5 years later, I was able to have my own art tour across the
Yeah,
country, led by me, you know, being the creative director, art director, curator, the designer, like all of the ideas, and was able to collaborate and bring so many different artists, so many different people together. It was amazing.
yeah, man. I appreciate y'all doing that with the Who Bus because y'all did inspire and impact the world with that. I know you, like you said, 2015, you didn't know how you wanted to go on tour with your art, but in 2020, it all came into fruition by you meeting and connecting with the right people, and you guys just made that dream into reality.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I believe that, we have the ability to manifest our dreams and make them real. And, I just, like I said, one of my friends, his name's Billionaire PA, he always says, like, I see greatness in you. And, that's something that I feel like, we should just start saying to people, like letting them know, like, I see you. And not only do I
Facts.
see you, but I see greatness in you. And, that's the thing that we have to understand, that, we are all great. And, we have to understand that greatness that we possess, with Muhammad Ali and, Michael Jordan and all these people that we call the GOATs, like, the greatest of all time. That's just talking about the greatness that we have within all of us. And I think that's the thing we need to help unlock for the rest of us to see. It's kind of like in the Matrix, like, everybody's like closed off to their greatness because they've been told a lie. And that's the thing. It's like, it's time to start unlocking people's minds and allowing them to be free, and showing them that, they're greater than who they think they are.
And that's true. That's facts. My last 3 questions that I want to run down. How can I help you?
I really feel like you can help me by just continuing spreading my message, getting it out there. I mean, if you can support by, copying a new hat or a hoodie, representing always risk taking, like I said, as an artist, I feel like it relates to a lot of artists that are out there, whether you're a dancer, music artist, whatever type of art you do, we are art. So, I think that's a way. But like I said, if you're not able to that way, I'm not mad at that. I respect it. However, the support you can give is accepted over here. Like I said, by sharing, reposting me, just
Most
continuing letting people know, like referring me in a situation that could help me, create opportunity, business opportunity. That is a great way of helping me as well. And just following me online, like I said, you see me doing something, make sure you say what's up. I mean, yeah,
Most definitely. We always gonna stay in touch, and I'm gonna support and cop a hoodie from you because I like the whole design, especially the meaning behind the art. Always risk taking. That's what I believe in as an entrepreneur too. Is always taking risks with anything that you're doing, but make sure they're calculating
Yeah.
the risk at the end of the day. My next question would be, how do you want to impact the world?
I mean, I feel like I'm already impacting the world with what I'm doing. Like I said, I just want to continue doing that on a grander scale by like, really just, stepping out there on my faith, and like I said, not just limiting it to just being in the United States, but, crossing the countries of, Europe and Asia and Australia and like the whole world. Like I said, just I want to impact the whole world with the message, to help people find that freedom. And the freedom doesn't mean like, like it's what you want it to mean. I don't want freedom to mean like this is the definition and this is the permanent definition. So
Yeah, there's multiple definitions of freedom. It's just comes down to what your definition of freedom
yeah.
is. I got you. Last and final question: where can
You guys
we
can find
find
me
you?
at Phree Art with the PH, so PHREEART. On Instagram, on Facebook, I think on Twitter, I'm Phree the Artist. I think I don't really use Twitter that often, but I mean, I do have a Twitter. If you just type in Phree the Artist or the Artist Phree, it's either one of those. Yeah, I mean, like I said, phreeart.com. You can go there to check out some of my stories, some of the things that I'm working on, and things like that.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Make sure y'all check him out, follow him, support his brand, support his brand, buy his hoodie, buy the hats, and support him overall. Just follow him, follow his journey, and see his journey that he's been through and everything that he's gone through. You heard the journey today, but go more in depth with him if you want to connect with him on any level as him designing anything for you, or just connecting and just saying how you could be a part of his journey or help him out. Just holler at him. He's always open to talk.
Yes, sir.
Man, I appreciate you coming on the show today and spreading
Yes,
that
sir.
knowledge and dropping gems with people.
Man, what an episode. I appreciate y'all tuning in with this episode. Hope y'all have a great weekend. Only thing I ask of y'all is share this episode with a friend, share it with a coworker, share it with a family member, share with anybody that you can think of that this episode might help, or overall the podcast may help. Appreciate y'all doing everything that y'all doing, supporting, reposting, sharing it on your social media feeds, as well as supporting from day one. Without y'all, this is not possible. I greatly appreciate it. Once again, subscribe, like, share, review. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, leave a review for me and let me know what you think of the show. Let me know what you think of every episode, or what you think of this episode in general. I greatly appreciate your feedback, and I want to hear back from each and every one of you, as well as what you're thankful for. The last episode I discussed being more thankful, being more open, being appreciative of everything around you and everything in your life that goes on in your life. I appreciate y'all from day one, the new listeners to now that's been listening. Thank you for your support. Y'all have a great weekend. I'll be back with y'all soon. Sana. I. E.